Hello and welcome. My name is Pranay, and through this video, I will work with you to help understand some mandatory documents for the ISO 9001-2015 standard. You would understand that ISO का audit, especially ISO 9001, happens in two stages. One, which is referred to as stage 1 or the adequacy audit. Another, which is referred to as stage 2 or the implementation audit. Stage 1 is mostly about certain mandatory documents. कुछ ISO 9001 में मैंडेटरी डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं जो ISO का ऑडिटर स्टेज 1 के ऑडिट के दौरान आपसे डिमांड करेगा. Only when you are able to furnish him all the stage 1 documentation will he go ahead and give you the timeline for stage 2. Point of caution here, बहुत subjective है. Comprehension of auditors will vary from one to the other. So some of the documents which auditor 1 will consider as being mandatory, someone else may not consider that as mandatory. I will help you understand ये पढ़ें कैसे, कौन से डॉक्यूमेंट में हम पुश बैक कर सकते हैं. The first document that ISO demands from you is the scope of ISO 9001, all international standards, चाहे वो ISO 9001 हो, 27001 हो, 14001 हो, उनका स्टार्ट पॉइंट विल बी अबाउट स्कोप, जहां पे आप अपना प्रोडक्ट सर्विस मेंशन कर रहे हो, आप अपना फिजिकल लोकेशन मेंशन कर रहे हो. In a different standard like ISO 27001, 27001 में तो आपको अपना SOA भी मेंशन करना होता है. But for ISO 9001, you are simply mentioning what products and services are covered during this ISO 9001 pursuit and what are the offices that you are going to get yourself certified for. Second document is quality policy. One of the preliminary documents for ISO 9001 will be a statement of your policy. Quality policy, like it is called, is one of the basal documents that the ISO auditor will look at. Generally इसमें कोई feedback मिलता नहीं है, but जो mandates हैं उनका ध्यान रखिए. You have to have a commitment towards for continual improvement. You have to have a commitment towards adherence to legal requirements. वो चेक कर लीजिएगा. ISO का ये जो क्लॉज है इसमें क्लियरली मेंशन्ड है what must be mentioned as part of your quality policy, और क्वालिटी पॉलिसी का कम्युनिकेशन का एविडेंस बहुत क्रूशल है, both to your interested parties and to your employees. Next, quality objectives. Measurable quality objectives, function, department, and subsequent levels has to be identified, and what is your plan to achieve them is a mandatory document that the ISO auditor will definitely look at. So stage 1 में वो list of KPIs देखेगा, स्टेज 2 में इनका अचीवमेंट भी देखेगा. And just in case you've not been able to achieve a particular target, non-conformity की handling का procedure will get triggered. That conversation sometimes else. But right now, mandatory document number 3, quality objectives and planning to achieve them. Document 4, the process description of how your critical operations are being handled is a critical piece of document that the ISO auditor will look at. So he is looking at you having standard operating procedures driven around clause number 8.1 around how your critical business operations are being run. Next, procedure for control of non-conforming products and services. What are you doing currently in terms of identifying non-conformities, and how are they being identified and how are they being corrected? The entire structure of non-conformity handling is a very crucial aspect that the auditor will look at. So procedure document is a mandatory document. Another very crucial piece of procedure document that ISO mandates is the corrective action. So you need a procedure for corrective action. Yesteryears, you needed corrective action and preventive action. Today, preventive action is being replaced by the risk methodology. So you need a procedure around how you're handling your corrective actions vis-a-vis the organizational processes. Next, a very crucial piece of record that ISO 9001 will demand is vis-a-vis the clause number 7.2 around competence. So you will need evidence of employee training and skill. So you will need job descriptions. You will need to map the job descriptions vis-a-vis your existing employees, and then do a gap fill and evidence of this gap fill vis-a-vis your training, education, hiring, whatever you've done. That evidence has to be put in place. Competence is a very crucial piece of record. I see a lot of complication around this. Please feel free to reach out to me with your specific question, and I will be more than happy to help you guide through the clause number 7.1. Read this super carefully. This is a very tricky area from ISO 9001, and this is a core auditor's area. So he will want to focus on auditing the 7.2 diligently. Another record that you will need is record of requirement review. So vis-a-vis the clause 8.2.3, you need evidence that the requirement that has been manifested by the customer has been reviewed prior to it getting accepted. That is a mandatory record that the auditor will look for. If applicable, the design and development process records are another crucial sets that will be required. So your design review, validation, verification records all become very important element from a ISO 9001 certification standpoint. Again, reach out. I will be more than happy to help you. If you have any specific question about what a design, verification, validation processes are to be looked at. Favorite area for the auditor, supplier evaluation and performance records. So right from the time you or selecting a vendor to evaluating a vendor, and if you're choosing to continue with an existing vendor, re-eval, this record is a mandatory record. Auditors are very, very pushy for this particular piece of requirement. So what is mentioned as part of your clause 8.4.1, ISO 9001 external internal auditors are extremely pushy about supplier evaluation and performance records. So whatever vendor selection processes you've deployed, evaluation processes you've deployed, and should you have chosen to continue with a vendor for a longer time, we will need re-evaluation records. Be super pushy about this requirement, especially for suppliers who are providing products or services that could affect the product conformity. Wide the clause 8.5.1. You will need production and service provision control records, ensuring that your processes, your manufacturing processes have met the required standard is a mandatory record. So standard adherence will have to be audited. Mandatory record. Next, evidence of inspection, testing, and customer satisfaction tracking is required from clause 9.1.2 perspective. So record of product service quality and customer feedback is a crucial piece of document because this is about your customer. External auditor will be very pushy. He would want to see whether you've captured this or not, and just in case you've not had a good feedback, the non-conformity handling processes must get triggered. Vis-a-vis your clause 9.2.2, your entire audit program. So you need an audit schedule, audit plan, audit reports, and just in case these audit reports have certain non-conformities, so your non-conformity handling, the entire landscape is a very crucial piece of document. Please realize, all of us who are ISO professionals, we cannot afford to get a non-conformity or an observation in the internal audit segment. So ensure that your audit schedule or audit plan is ready, your reports are ready, and just in case your reports have identified some non-conformities, the non-conformity handling procedure has been triggered, corrective actions, documentation, etc. has all been done. So please close loop your internal audit documentation. Another very, very crucial piece of document that is required is your management review. So your MRM with the fixed format. This is auditor's favorite playground. So don't mess with MRM requirements. Management review meetings must be conducted and evidence of the same must be adequately managed for the external auditor to look at. Corrective action and non-conformity handling reports. Corrective action is a crucial piece of foundation stone, if you were to call it, from ISO 9001 perspective. So whenever there is a non-conformity has to be followed up with root cause analysis. Root cause has to trigger corrective action, and effectiveness monitoring has to be done. So the entire life cycle has to be followed. So if in case there is any non-conformity being observed, internal identification, customer pointed, internal audits identified, such non-conformities must trigger corrective action. Very, very crucial. that you realize that the external auditor will look at corrective action very, very keenly. All he is looking for is, has non-conformity happened? Non-conformity must trigger corrective action. ISO 9001 specifically has a lot of subjectivity. So consumerate to the kind of organization you are, kind of products and services that you provide, kind of processes you've deployed. Some set of documents which is mandatory for organization 1 may not be applicable for organization 2. And a lot of the external auditors carry a baggage of yesteryear's ISO principles into their audits. Like it or you don't, they are the external auditors. They are the ones who are going to give you a feedback. You like it or you don't. Mostly you will have to agree with them. So ensure that you have your mandatory documents in place. Whenever you have a doubt, complete the document. Please realize you don't have a choice. The external auditor will give you a stinker, an observation during the external audit, and you will look very stupid in front of your leadership. So when in doubt, consider the document as mandatory. In one of these subsequent videos, maybe I will talk to you through about the other non-mandatory documents which the external auditor will somehow demand from you. I hope this simple video is helpful. Thank you.